snap. I believe we got to do our intro. Hey, I have to say,
lag down me.
Hey, we must have seen that intro 100 times. I love that thing. I want to go back to the double intro days. But what up, world? Frank, myself, we're here. We're ready to recap week 2. Huge week, crazy week in the NFL, like always. Frank, what's up, brother?
What's up, man? Happy to be back. Putting on a little vacay time, so it was nice.
Hey, much needed for sure. Man, kind of ready to jump into it. So, first things first, we got to go over the Magoat's interesting fact of the day.
All right, what do we
got? Desmond Howard is the only player to win Super Bowl MVP from special teams alone. I feel like that was interesting. Desmond Howard is the only person to win NFL MVP in the Super Bowl MVP from special teams alone.
Really? Huh.
What Always interesting. I actually can pull that up for you right after. We're live because I might sneeze on the air right now.
That happens.
I'll get that to you. So I had Dim Boys is actually the one who I asked that same question, like, what do you do? But he just had crazy return yards. He was killing it. So got him Super Bowl MVP. But enough about that, right? So let's jump into it, guys. You already know, if you haven't joined us on Underdog, we're still doing a lot of these best ball drafts. Use code GETRIGHT for your special bonus for getting in. Today, we're going to be covering, obviously, what happened in week 2, but we're going to cover some injuries, waiver wire ads, things like that. We're going to get you guys set up to date, get you that little step up over your competition. Frank, if you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, so first things first, I wanted to start off by going with the perfect lineup. Ready? If you started, and I'll go through all these, right? People play in different leagues, they have flexes, all that kind of stuff. So in a single quarterback league, obviously if you went Kyler Murray, who's still, I believe, ranked number 1 for the season, that man is just, he is going crazy. What up, Dim Boys? Kyler Murray is just going crazy out there. If you're in a super flex, Tom Brady's your man. And I will say, I did write a lot of these down before tonight's game. We had a crazy game. Packers-Lions. Nobody knows how the Lions got Monday night game. Sure, it has a lot to do with the rivalry. But all right, so Kyler Murray, Tom Brady, if you're doing a super flex. No surprise here. Derrick Henry, killing it. Actually, I think Derrick Henry is ranked number 1 out of all players for fantasy this year when I just looked that up. So this guy would have got kicked out tonight. Tony Pollard. Pollard snuck his way in there. But I believe Aaron Jones took his spot after tonight's game.
Oh, yeah. A ridiculous night for Aaron Jones. And I'm sure
what'd you call it earlier?
Like,
a little much, Aaron Jones.
Yeah, it was selfish. A little much,
yeah. Cooper Kupp making an appearance.
I know Anthony's happy with them. I think it's a keeper for him, so
makes sense. Mr. 807 himself, Tyler Lockett, made an appearance.
Oh, dude, that dude's killing it. Like, I think it's funny that we kept, you guys are like 807. How often was he traded away? And now whoever was like the last guy in this hot potato ended up with a hot potato. You know what I mean? Like, literally, this guy's on fire, right?
That's Dim Boys, and I think Dim Boys traded him at least twice. I know I traded him. I was in on that. So we call him 807 for the people that don't watch in our Dynasty startup. He got traded so many times, and he was the eighth round, 7th pick. So people start saying, like, man, I don't even need to look anymore. I already know who 807 is. Hence, Mr. 807, if you guys hear that reference. So moving on, no surprise here, Travis Kelsey.
Yeah, I got him.
I mean,
solid. I'm happy that he's doing well. So, keep up the good work, right?
Oh, check out this stat. 807 is on pace for 102 catches for 2,363 yards. Yeah.
We'll see what happens, though. This is how I started last year, if I remember correctly, 5 touchdowns. And the next you know, DK took over and Metcalf never looked back. You know what I mean? So I was like, whatever. I even traded for him. And he's on my untouchable list. I don't mess with him no more.
Hey, and a lot of people. So that's why he's still, even like we said in Dynasty, he was going in the 8th round. So imagine in everybody else's leagues. And then just to close it off, so we're somewhere between, since Aaron Jones hopped in, somewhere between for a regular flex, Cortland Sutton, who got off, and then back to Tony Pollard. So somewhere in between there. And Cortland Sutton, again, well, I mean, we're going to get into all that kind of stuff, but and lastly,
with the Jerry Jeudy injury, and I'm still looking at Tim Patrick as a somebody down there in the list. But hey, it's worth a shot. Sometimes it depends on your team makeup and what you're looking for and what you need. Sometimes I know I was just talking to my buddy about it, and he was like, "I'm not, there's a waiver wire move. I'm at number 7. I don't want to make a move yet." So he's going to wait for waivers to go by and see what's left. And sometimes that's who's going to be, a pickup.
And I like that you say that. So there's a lot of strategy to that. Even with fab and all that kind of stuff, like, is it worth on one side spending your fab or waiting till waiver wires go up on a guy like Tim Patrick or some of these guys that are on the cusp? We know there's some people who are going to spend their fab and they're going to spend everything. We had this conversation, and Heineke was the person we were talking about. Some people, and Elijah Mitchell, and see what would have happened there on both sides, right? Some people are going to spend 67% of their fab on these players. Some people just went and waited out, see what's left, or save their waiver wire position so they can move up on that list and you can still get whoever's available after. So it's all different strategies. It's what you're comfortable with and how much do you really want this guy. But this is the overreaction show, so.
All right. We'll see who actually is the real deal, you know what I mean, after these games. So you want to go over the games?
Yeah. So last one, I don't know if I said Buffalo was the highest scoring defense. Again, obviously, this is going to perfectly move us into week 2 quarterbacks. We had a lot of changes, but obviously some injuries too, right? Tua goes down. Tyrod Taylor went down. There's a couple more injuries in there, right? Heineke got his start because Fitzmagic went down.
Yeah, Wentz went down too, and who else went down? There's another quarterback that went down.
Wentz always just went down. He's got 2 bad ankles right now, on top of everything else he's got.
Well, I wanted, since we were talking interesting stats, I want to go back to that real quick because I had one pulled up here. Let me get to it. So yeah, at one point, I'm sure people were maybe watched the game or didn't watch the game. Cincinnati Bengals and the Bears. At one point, Joe Burrow was picked off 3 straight passes.
Very Zach Wilson like. Hey, very Zach Wilson like. Yeah,
but Justin Fields, produced 7 first downs during his first 7 drives, and 10 carries. So I don't know. It wasn't too impressed. Hopefully, maybe starting the full game because that's who the other guy went down here. Help me out here.
Andy Dalton.
Dalton, I always forget his name, man.
And
the guy that
he's
went
very
down over there.
Person.
So I mean, we'll see what happens over there. Justin Fields. Some people, the fans obviously want to start him. So maybe it's that one thing that that actually just obviously Dalton being hurt, he's going to get the starts, and let's see what he's really made of. The next couple of games, and then see how many he actually gets to start. Baker's a stud.
Yeah. Baker's a stud. Just pop that back in and put me in, coach. So I did see that the Bears went on record and said if Andy Dalton's ready to start, he is still going to be the starter once he comes back. But you're right, the whole world's just waiting on Fields to come in. They're sprinkling him in. But yes, this injury could be who knows if it lingers, But we're going to follow up on all these injuries, right? So there's a lot of injuries, and it's what we were talking about last week. Quarterbacks are going to go down, and we've seen it in plentiful today. So definitely keep an eye on that kind of stuff. There's a few quarterbacks like I don't know if you want to go like the Davis Mills and stuff like that. But Frank, who do you have your eye on as far as quarterback that we could pick up off waiver wire? Say one of your guys went down. I know in some leagues it's a little tougher than others. But what are you thinking?
I'm just gonna go shoot it out there, man. With Derek Carr and Sam Darnold. Derek Carr right now, David Carr. I mean, 29% owned on Sleeper. So he's still available. He's there. The team's 2-0. Raiders might be the real deal there. You know what I mean? Like they might actually be getting some fantasy points up there. Sam Darnold, same thing. Low percentage of ownership, and he's had a couple good games. And if you're hurting at quarterback, which a lot of people go down. So, these guys are available at least, for next week, whatever, waiver stream who you need.
Yeah. So Derek Carr's a good one. Derek Carr's ranked 7th in quarterbacks this year. And who would have thought it? Derek Carr, he always calls him David Carr. And Ant's over here correcting you. You do always call him David Carr. That's his brother. But Derek Carr's ranked 7th in quarterbacks this year. And another surprising one, we'll go to Kirk, who's 5th in quarterbacks. He's only rostered in 66% of leagues. Daniel Jones ranked 8th, and he's only rostered in 10 to 20%. I say both those numbers because from the time I did my notes to just before the show, to show you who's still available, Heineke's only rostered in 4%. Teddy Bridgewater, 17%. Jimmy Garoppolo, somewhere around 10%. So there's a lot of guys who are out there. And even if you picked up Jameis last week, everybody was high on him. He had his 5 touchdowns and stuff. But turns out Jameis is who we thought he was.
He was, right? Yeah, so bad for him. I think they'll bounce back from that. I think it was just, bad performance. And they'll move past it and remember that they can get this thing done. I think he'll, give him another shot. Let's see what happens next week.
Yeah, and a lot of it could be matchups, but it's typical Jameis, right? Jameis could come back and throw for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns again next week, and then under 100 the week after. That's just what he does.
Yeah.
I mean, last thing kind of on quarterbacks that I got is shout out to Daniel Jones. He ran for 95 yards. And pretty good. I mean, not really expecting that from Daniel Jones, right? And I would say, it's Washington's defense, but Washington was projected top 5.
Yeah, and Saquon's usage has gone up in this game. It was just kind of wait and see with him, and it's still kind of that way. But I think that he's trending towards, being a starter now. That he's gotten, they're working him in. You know what I mean? Like it was that whole slow process they had for him, and I think he's about ready.
Yeah. And I'm waiting to see this kind of stuff. So there is a lot of these guys that we got to keep our eyes on. We'll follow on the injury report. I'm sure Mike Anthony will get a lot more into that coming later in the week once we know if they're going to be available. But check out all these guys. I mean, we gave you guys a lot of juice right there. Moving on, we have a lot of receivers. I think me and you we talked before the show. We both agree on who our number 1 guy is here for waiver wire odds for receiver. Who you got, Frank?
Well, I had Rondell Moore.
Rostered in only 34% of leagues on Yahoo.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the guy. He's doing some good things over there in Arizona. Looks clean. 7 of 7, 114 yards, and 1 TD. So, yeah, he's looking like, he's getting a piece of the pie over there. So, I definitely get to go after him.
Yeah, they're just finding ways to get him involved in the offense. So that's definitely not. I have another one here with you too. So you mentioned Henry Ruggs. Is he worth an ad?
In deeper leagues, yeah, why not? And just to see where he's at. Some guys, maybe Raider fans or whatnot are holding on to him, but if the Raiders still keep going at the pace that they're doing, he's going to be viable.
I think a lot of that may be just geographics because we're out here in Northern California, so we're here with a lot of the Raider fans. That's why you're not going to see any of these Niners receivers or Raiders receivers running backs. You're not going to see them fall that low. I see Ruggs is only rostered in 35% of leagues on Yahoo worldwide.
So Amanchi has a question here. Deontay Johnson.
What'd you call him?
Jefferson. Deontay Johnson. Oh, this guy, Amanchi. A machine.
I would say A machine 35.
Whatever.
I like it. Amanchi. All right.
Deontay Johnson, Justin Jefferson, Sutton, T. Higgins, Galladay. Trade for starting wide receiver with all these places. Yeah,
my answer is always yes. Always yes, especially being that stacked.
Yeah, you got pieces to move around, and you could definitely get some better pieces that you could, just start every week, not worry about it, set and forget it, and look back into the playoffs.
Yeah, and especially with receivers. So,
Galladay,
a couple of these, Deontay Johnson,
Higgins,
I believe,
and Galladay.
Oh yeah, I would definitely do a Higgins and Holiday. You could sell Sutton high. I think Sutton's going to be long term though. Personally, I've heard a lot of guys on Denver. I mean, obviously not personally. Have said he's the best athlete on the field next to Von Miller, and it's a toss up right there. So, I would definitely switch out two of those guys. Even to be honest, any of those names can go. When you're talking about Deontay Johnson, Justin Jefferson. There's so many receivers in all these teams that it's hard to tell who's going to get the target share every week. Every time I give advice, it's going to be based on consistency. Again, I'd rather have a hard 15 than a soft 20 that could give me 5. That's just my opinion every time. So I would definitely do that, and that goes for even if you have running backs on the same tier, and you're going to free up some space. If you get a 2-for-1, free up some space and grab some of these other guys, and then do it again. And that's how you just keep building your team. Sorry, we digress.
Pittman or Rondell Moore?
I think long term, Rondell Moore. If I had Pittman now, I'd be selling him high. Pittman high. It's a freaking Ferris wheel over there in Indy. I mean, Jonathan Taylor's not doing anything.
I would definitely drop him for more. Yeah, we got another consensus.
Let me see. Hold on, I'm gonna.
You got to drop any wide receiver 3 for more right now. Yeah, that's for sure. Moore's looking like he could be a number 2 or number 1 even. And another guy on his team. And another guy on his team over there, in Washington, J.D. McKissick, still in a touchdown over there. So he's worth a look as well. If in deeper leagues, or if you're hurting, you got some people that went down. I mean, if you look at all those guys that just went down for San Francisco, some of the backfield that I wanted to mention over there, because I ended up picking up, Elijah Moore, and they got everybody and their mama going, Jermichael Hasty,
Elijah Mitchell.
Who else? Elijah Mitchell. Well, I know I'm saying, but I was running back wise that were just starting to, get in some work over there. What I was trying to say is that you just can't have enough of them, man. Over there they had a lot of injuries, and every week it seems like another running back's going down. ACL tears this year, so you might as well stock up.
Yeah, so even Dim Boys is saying I think Moore will be wide receiver 8 through 12 for the second half of the year. Wilson, Osborne gonna really eat if the other receiver gets hurt in Minnesota. Hey, so we'll just jump there. I mean, it feels like we're already on the wide receiver train. First, I'll say to some of the new names that we're seeing on here, glad to have you guys. If you guys aren't involved, reach out to us after the show. Get involved if you guys are on Sleeper. We have tons of great chats, and we're breaking news, and there's tons of good reasons for you guys to be there. Like and subscribe if you guys haven't yet. To close out receivers, Hollywood Brown has had a couple great games, so he's somebody to look at. He's only rostered in 66% of leagues.
I had another guy, Emmanuel Sanders.
I thought you were going to say my guy here. Okay,
over in the Bills. It down. He had a missed touchdown, and he's been getting the targets over there. I think he's gonna, he's developing rapport, and I think he's a guy to keep an eye out or pick up if he. Like I said, we were talking earlier, just letting all these waiver wire guys go through. That way, you could keep your your position and or your money, depending on the fab. So he's the guy to look at.
No, that's a good one. I guess the last one. Well, I got two more. So Cordero Patterson.
Maybe
I don't know why I
JJ.
felt like I couldn't say that. I tried. I was like rolling my R's right there. Cordell Patterson. He's only on 15% of leagues. He kind of got the looks like he might be the number one over there now, and he's you can hold him in wide receiver or running back, so that's somebody that everybody's going to go after. And what Wilson said, I have KJ Osborne only owned in 3% of leagues, so that's somebody you definitely want to keep your eye out on. He's obviously the number 3 over there in Minnesota, but he's getting work, and if anybody does go down, I never wish injury on somebody. I do have a bet going right now. So if one of the two were to get hurt, let's say it was not like life-threatening or anything, like it could be Justin Jefferson. I have 0 shares of him. But yeah, that's somebody definitely you want to look at too. Let's catch him on some of these shots, maybe even higher.
He's about to call up Ross to run the rock next for him. That's what I'm saying, dude. Everybody's going down over there in San Francisco. I mean, it's injury after injury over there.
Oh, geez. Hey, if Rasta goes on offense, I'm going on defense for sure.
I just like the fact that Elijah Mitchell got 17 carries, 42 yards. I know he didn't get a touchdown, but he did get a stinger, and he did come back into the game. I mean, Trey Sermon, what did he get? That one carry, fumbled it, and then got hurt and went out of the game.
Yeah, I still have high hopes on Trey Sermon. I think it's just because I drafted him in a few leagues, so I'm just more so hopeful than I am any kind of statistically saying. I really don't like any Niner running backs because I've liked all of them, and we just don't know what they're going to do. They're bringing everybody in the league in right now for tryouts, so we're going to see what happens. Hey, Ian's right. CEH. I don't think we're even going to waste our time to talk about CEH right now. We talked about Mike Davis.
I was never high on CEH.
Ever. I have no shares of CEH. Yeah. The offense is just too powerful over there. It's hard to see that he's actually going to get anything. I know one of the questions came up. It was CH and Mike Davis. I'm like, man, they're pretty much on the same level there. Them boys, I wouldn't be surprised if they call Marshawn. Hey, they might need to, but I think Marshawn's faithful. He's faithful to Oakland, but now Niners being the closest team, like I don't know. As much as I'd hate to see it, I'm a Cal fan, but I can see him doing it. But hey, let's get into some running backs that are playing.
What another guy I want to mention real quick on that, whole
break it down.
CEH is Miko Hardman. Again, he's tied for the team in targets in week 2 against Baltimore. So another guy to hold on or be starting right now, 55 yards. While DeMarcus Robinson and Byron Pringle were just at the end zone. So it's just an opportunity. I was looking at Miko Hardman late in our drafts. So I think his time will come soon enough.
Yeah, I think he's had all the talent in the world. He's quick. He's fast, really. On top of being quick, just they kind of question his route running, and I'm just surprised he hasn't done it yet. He's had opportunities, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, no, definitely. I feel like if they find out how to get him involved and have a Tyreek Hill on the field, that's a whole different team right there.
Gurley's coming soon.
You'd love to see it, man, but Gurley.
There's some hate on Gurley right now, right?
It's a reason everybody's passing. I mean, look at these running. Lamar Miller's getting brought in for tryouts and stuff, and they're not bringing in Gurley. Like something's going on.
Something's going on right there, right? I'm not sure what to put my finger on it, but there's definitely. I mean, at this point, with so many injuries, and even Baltimore just losing there too. You know what I mean? Like at some point, some team's gonna, be like, let's give Gurley a shot, and why not?
You would think. I think that he's going to sign. I just don't think that he'll be a factor in the NFL this year. And I was talked out of him because I was drafting him in leagues like, hey, that's going to be a steal. But seeing him get passed up on teams like the Ravens worked him out twice and didn't bring him in. And now they're working with Tyson, So as deep as they were in injuries on running backs and nobody's grabbing him, like there's something up.
Yeah.
Do you think Tampa calls in Richard Sherman? It's a fantasy football show, Wilson. That. I say no. What do you say, Frank?
I heard they made him an offer already, so he might be going over there.
I think it's got to run through Tom, and Tom ain't having it. That's Tampa, bro. Tampa's not going to have it. He chooses who's in the locker room. You know,
for sure.
He's running the show. I could already see him clashing with Sherman. And Tom uses that, from what I see, right? I don't know 100%, but he uses a lot of that stuff as motivation. We see some of his antics and stuff like, oh, you chose this quarterback over me and all this kind of stuff. He might still be mad at him over the Seattle Super Bowl against them, you know, even though they did obviously get the win there. I mean, now that we're talking about Marshawn and stuff, but you know, you mad, bro? Hey, I say Richard Sherman is mediocre at best. Nah,
yeah, he's over the hill. He's done. He's not a Brady, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure not, and it's hard to be at that position too.
So what do you think? You know, with the possible injury with Henderson there, with Sony Michel get an opportunity, this guy goes down, or you actually get some playing time. Which they're facing Tampa Bay next.
I think next week's going to be ugly for no matter who they have as running back. So if you have their running backs and that's your only option, that's why you're watching the show right now, because here's the guys you want to grab. Tony Pollard only owned in 53% of leagues. Get a J.D. McKissick, who's only owned in 29%, because you're not going to want to rock with a Sonny Michel or any running back against Tampa Bay. Maybe long term, there's a little better option over there. Me personally, I want to see him get funky. You know, Jake Funk, throw him in. Let's see it. But
so how much is the ownership percentage for Alexander Madison? I mean, if Dalvin Cook is injured over there, he's a high prospect as well.
Yeah, no, that's a good one to get. I'll pull it up right now. The thing that kind of got us with Alexander Madison, who's rostered in 33% of leagues, right? A lot of people were calling him one of the best handcuffs that you could have. He did have a shot last year with Dalvin slightly injured, and he didn't produce. So, I don't know. Madison definitely has it in him. He kind of runs like a baby Dalvin, but he didn't prove it.
Yeah. So, I mean, who'd you rather have, Pollard?
Pollard, 100%.
I think out of this group, J.D. McKissick, Alexander Madison, Pollard definitely leading the group. Yeah.
And it's crazy because all three of them got amazing running backs at number one. But there's only 3 running backs that rush for over 100 yards this week. Henry, obviously.
I totally agree with Cook. This, and them boys stay away from any running back playing Tampa for sure. Stream away from the guy, bench that guy, go with whoever for sure. What do we got? Yeah. Pollard is the best handcuff, hands down, for sure.
Yeah, and you have points.
I mean, he's almost to the point he could be a starter. Could be a situation where we got Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, we'll find out next year, right?
I think it's going to happen this year. I think they're going to split a lot more carries than you think, because they were already talking about keeping Zeke fresher, and Pollard's obviously killing it. So why not let the guy get some touches? Like he'd be done
exactly. Especially on his last year, them going into a longer season. And I was probably reading a lot of the same stuff you were on that they want to mix Pollard a lot in because they want to save Zeke because it is a longer season. So all that stuff kind of adds up. James White looking good again. That's another one. James White's only owned in 42% of leagues. Singletary's another one I had down there, although he's carried in 84% of leagues.
Although Damian Harris is beasted over there. Did you see him? It's like 10 guys to get hands on him before he made the touchdown. So I don't know how much James White is going to eat, but it's always, it's the Patriots, and they running back by committee for sure almost all the time. So if you got a guy that's doing something over there, might as well get him. I mean, this just sends Ramondre Stevenson, off rosters basically or whatever, right?
Yeah, he's not worth it. So a lot of you guys that I was sending you trades for Ramondre,
should have did it.
I won't say anything. Kittle, a buy low candidate. Obviously, yeah, you definitely want a Kittle on your team, especially when you're looking at the tight ends. Like, you could even go on PFF, and they're going to tell you that there's no tight ends worth grabbing. Like, it's just funny. Like, the tight end positional scarcity is so low. There are a couple guys like Jack Doyle had a decent week, right? Max Williams from Arizona. He actually had a stellar week this week.
These guys
Dalton Knox.
Sorry.
Goddard a must play versus Cowboys with third time. Oh, sorry. Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones traded jerseys. Yeah, I think we're watching the same show right now. I did see that.
Yeah, Ertz is on the COVID list.
Damn you, Aaron Jones. Wilson, don't bring up Aaron Jones. He knows what happened. I was supposed to beat him. All I needed was Rodgers to score more points than Aaron Jones, and I would have went 3-0 again this week. So I'd have been 6-0 in all our sleeper leagues, and he got me. Couldn't have lost to a better guy. Shout out to you, Wilson. You did get me. I'll be back. Aaron Jones cost me so many leagues, and DeAndre Swift just not doing his job. Thanks a lot, a.k.a. Tycoon. You killed me.
Kyle's got a good question here. Trade Carson for A-Rob on PPR?
Let's go. Did we cover the Kittle one yet? We'll get to all these. Drew, Josh, Kyle, what's up, boys? Ian, everybody. Hey, we appreciate you guys. If you haven't yet, like we said, like and subscribe. We'll do a lot of these Q&As, so we do them even on Sunday morning before you guys are doing your starting lineups. We'll follow up with a lot of the injuries later in the week once we get more details. Mike, Anthony, they're our on-field doctors. But if you guys get in touch with us, whether on Twitter, through the show, if you join our sleeper show, you'll be getting all the newest updates. We do a lot of Q&As and stuff like this too, where we have a whole community. So it's a lot of the guys in this chat room that we could put on the show. They just don't like being on camera, and they're as smart as any of these analysts that you're going to see, if not smarter. Sorry for that long rant. All right, so since we didn't get to this one, Goddard a must-play versus Cowboys with Ertz out. Yeah, definitely has a tight end for sure. You're going to go with Goddard, especially against Cowboys defense. We're still figuring out how to put a linebacker on a tight end.
We just got injuries. There's a lot of injuries. The Cowboys have a lot of defensive injuries. And I mean, that's why Micah Parsons up on the line now even.
Exactly. And he looked good at defensive end. I know it's not a defensive end show. But, hey, buddy, look good. I'm loving what I'm seeing from my guy. Tim Boys, Kittle is pissing me off for sure, but I'd still probably snag him if someone is. Yeah, it just depends what you're going to say for cheap, right? Like if you could toss out these receivers. So, like I said, we had 3 rushers go for over 100 yards, 14 wide receivers go for under 100 yards, over 100 yards. 3 of them went for over 150. We already talked about them, Mr. 807, Lockett, Cup, and Sutton. So, I mean, wide receivers are a little more plentiful than running backs right now, so you want to hang on to those guys. Frank, what do you think? Trade Carson for your boy A-Rob?
Let's say hold.
Well, hold which one? Carson?
I'd say hold Carson.
I agree. That's it. Hey, no elaboration. Just all right. Hold
there
is it the quarterback situation?
Yeah, it's the quarterback situation, but I think that I don't know. There's I can't even think of his name. Every time you put me on the spot,
Andy Dalton.
No, the backup over there, running back for behind Carson.
Rashard Penny.
No, the new rookie
for Seattle.
Yeah, it's Seattle. No, I'm thinking wrong. Then never mind. Not same team.
Okay.
Not same team. Don't worry about it. I would still stick with Carson.
No matter what. Hey, yeah. Carson. Yeah, A-Rob, it's just not that consistency that we're used to. And he's switching quarterbacks. Andy Dalton's probably the cause of a lot of that. We've seen Mooney get a lot of balls, but Chicago still, they're trying to find their identity. They don't know what they're going to do yet. So, next question, Joshua. Trade Terry McLaurin and Chris Godwin for we just talked about Mooney. For Devontae Adams and Mooney. Oh man, that is a tough one. I hate Chris Godwin. I just don't care for Tampa Bay receivers because again, there's only one football. There's so much talent over there in Tampa Bay, so it's always going to switch. All their receivers are great. Terry McLaurin is one guy that I told myself I have to have this year. Devontae's arguably the number 1 receiver in the league. With that, all that being said,
no, I'm not going with it. Because Scary Terry and Godwin are basically in par. I mean, they're behind Devontae Adams, but they're in that top echelon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sticking with those guys. Yeah. I mean, I would switch
Mooney's
it
not
up.
enough. It's the back end of Mooney that's not enough because you're losing too much, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Godwin's a top tier. I would definitely agree. And then Mooney kind of gets thrown in there, and he's.
Because I'd rather have Dobbins over Evans. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and Scary Terry. I mean, just what he's doing this year, like.
Scary Terry's just the number one over there, even with the Heineke throwing at him now, and they might even be better off with that guy. Who knows? And maybe Fitzpatrick comes back later.
Yeah, I'll try to switch up the names a little bit. If you could keep Scary Terry, or if you can upgrade Mooney, you throw in a running back or something. That's something I would definitely entertain. But come back to us, like I said. If you guys aren't in our sleeper chat, throw it in there, and you'll get 50 guys who eat, sleep, and breathe football who are going to answer you.
I was offered return
Drew Lauro
and D. Harris.
Read it out to him, Frank. We got our YouTube listeners.
I would take that. He was offered. I was offered.
Kittle.
Go ahead.
No, you're good.
I was offered Kittle in return for Tanyan, Jerry Jeudy, and Deontay Harris. Have to accept, right? I would definitely accept that for sure.
100%, I would. And I don't care if Jeudy did good.
Judy's going to miss a couple weeks. He's going to be back. Harris is killing it. Tanyan's a serviceable tight end. You've seen what he did tonight. Aaron Rodgers likes him. I don't think he's going to be, he's boomer bust basically. But what you're getting in return for, just one guy, the upside of the other guys, it's definitely an easy trade. It's almost lopsided, really.
Yeah, I mean, you're giving up 3 good guys for sure, but I'm just assuming if you have guys like that, you drafted pretty well and you could make up for it. So getting a good tight end, and then Kittle's going to get his act together here soon. So buy low, like they say. Even though you're giving up all those, definitely worth it. Wilson, just replying to how he kicked my ass. My league is PPR too. Yeah, for sure, man. Whether PPR or not, you want to keep Scary Terry and Godwin for sure. There is a lot of solid teams with horrific defenses. Man, that's the truth. Dang, I guess we're really behind. Parsons will figure out how to cover a tight end from defensive tackle. Just give him a chance. That guy's just a monster. Yeah. Agree. Alex Collins. Okay. Seattle is more of a run team. Oh, that was the rookie that you were trying to think of, Alex Collins.
Collins, yeah. I couldn't think of it. Thank you, guys. It all comes up late. The chat's behind it, so yeah. And Seattle is more of a run team, and that's why I say stick with Carson.
What do we do with AB? Man, it's no knock to AB. We've all been saying it. Myself personally, again, based on my consistency factor that I like to see from especially my core guys, trade him. I would have traded him after last week. AB's awesome, right? He's one of the top 5 receivers of my lifetime for sure. But I'm trading him just purely based on the fact that he's in Tampa Bay. Let him have another good week. Trade him off. Somebody will take him. Somebody else loves him. Yeah. But, I mean, I definitely would feel solid throwing me in my lineup if that's all that I have. But I just know how many receivers and talent that they have there in Tampa Bay. Terry and Godwin are both potential wide receiver 1s, and Mooney is at best a low-end wide receiver 2. So I wouldn't do it. See, so Dim Boys is agreeing with us too. Move that up. Damian Harris or Deontay. We took it as Damian Harris, but I would put both of them in there, whether it was Deontay Harris or if it was Damian Harris. Even more so if it was Deontay Harris. But
right? It would be
okay, there it is. Judy and Damian Harris are on my bench. It's a 10-team league. Well, definitely throw Judy on your IR spot, and if you could trade him off, I would too. I've kind of always felt that Sutton was the man to have over there. Jerry Jeudy is good. He's an awesome route runner.
Cortland's got it right.
Yeah, I still feel like it's Cortland's job, and I think he's just kind of showing us right now. I don't think every week's going to be like what he did this week, so I'm not jumping to throw him into my roster, but
yeah, I can't remember anybody's name, man. I'm terrible about it, but I know what I'm talking.
Frank just don't care, dude. Win him a championship. He knows Alvin Kamara's name. That's it.
That's for sure.
Is there a Deontay Harris? I think he's talking about the receiver from New Orleans. Whatever his name is. I'm not going to pull up dead charts. Help us out, Jim boys.
Right, we're all behind on that.
Yeah, I know the two he's talking about. I don't know if his name is Deontay or however, pronunciation, all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah, we still got, some
yeah,
of these other guys.
I
I just think, we go back to Rondale Moore. Probably, him and Tony Pollard are probably the best 2 pickups of the week. If you could get your hands
I'd
on
throw Patterson in there too.
Cordero Patterson, yeah, why not?
Son has never had a good QB and has produced when healthy for sure. Yeah. There's not a lot out there at this point, guys. But that's okay. So, like, for some of you guys that are needing the quarterbacks and stuff, hopefully we kind of brought up a lot of these people that you can at least look at. It's good to stash them. If you guys have questions on who to drop to or anything like that, like, let us know, because there's a lot of people in my mind. And we're going to get into that on our Wednesday show. So we'll get into our who we're selling, who we're buying, all that kind of stuff. So that stuff will help you guys out. We'll get a little more into the injury details. Obviously, you want to know before everybody else does too, and sell high. So we'll get into a lot more of that. Okay, we got another one. Trade Jonathan Taylor and Jamar Chase for Najee. Nah. I'm not doing that. I don't even like Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, Chase is
good. Yeah. I wouldn't. It's just too much talent. You could trade Jonathan Taylor for somebody else, and you don't want to trade him right now at his low point. I don't know if he's ever going to have a high point, but he's like, damn, middle of the pack, low end RB2, RB3 at best. Like, I sat Jonathan Taylor this week for DeAndre Swift. I just wasn't seeing it. Wilson said, I dropped Callaway in our league. Smart move or not? I think it's about time. Callaway is somebody that I put in waiver wires to drop him too.
Marcus Callaway,
he seemed good, right? He's one of those preseason superstars or Madre Stevenson kind of thing. But it's just not panning out. And I don't have time to waste, like it sounds messed up. Quintez Cephas, now that he's on TV, I guess that's a good pickup. He's somebody I had projected high today to do good. Anthony was talking about this guy like 6 months ago, so he was happy about that.
He's talking about drop LaVisca for KJ Osborne or Zach Pascal. He must be in a deeper league right there.
But I do that.
Osborne over Pascal.
I do that. I'll drop Visca. I just never bought into the LaVisca hype. Man, Trevor Lawrence has looked. I'll say this week he's looked mediocre. He did good last week.
Yeah, he's gonna have his ups and downs depending on the defenses he's playing. Obviously, a good team is, he's gonna be the kind of quarterback that if the team has an under 500 record, he'd probably have a good chance. If they're over 500, he's gonna get his ass kicked.
Yeah, and they did play against Denver, who's a really good team. So, I'm just not buying LaVisca. I'm more of a DJ Shark kind of guy. Pascal, I could take him or leave him. But yeah, it sounds like you're in a deeper league. If Crowder stays out, Barrios is a great pickup. From the Barrios, great pickup if you really need a flex. Barrios actually did really good. He scored pretty high up there, and I think he's rostered in like 0% of leagues.
Yeah.
But he got a ton of targets. He didn't pull too many of them in. So I got it right here.
I would
say
he
got 18 targets
Saquon,
on the season.
Go get Saquon. He's about due. They've eased him in enough into the season that I think he's going to be, full force on the next game coming up. You're going to see a lot more carries.
How did you just jump there?
I was just going to the next one down.
Barrios. I was still giving my recap on Barrios.
Sorry, I thought you were done with it.
Hey, I'll just finish it. Barrios is number 2 on targets for the year, I believe. That's the last thing I got to say him. And then going back to LaVisca, Shark is Sharks got 16 targets this year, which is the third highest, but it's actually third, fourth. He's fifth in the league on that one, and he's tied with Devontae Parker. Okay. I digress. Sorry. Seems like you already answered that one. Saquon buy low candidate? Yeah, it depends how low we're talking. Earlier. Who knows how low we're talking, right? So it would kind of depend on the names, in my opinion. Because am I going to give up like a I mean, who do you even say for him, right? Like, am I going to give up a DeAndre Swift for Saquon? Like, I'm kind of putting them on the same level at this point.
Yeah, you
DeAndre
might.
Swift only had one bad game. Saquon's had two.
He hasn't had bad games because they're easing him into the offense. You shouldn't have been starting him the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, you should have just not even drafted him. But I mean, we're talking about a first rounder. But I know what you mean. Hey, maybe he picks it up a little more. When it comes to that kind of stuff, like I'll even go as far.
Week. You know what I mean?
Who do they play? Let's see who the Giants play. Let's see if we can pull this up real quick for you guys. I'm never going to get it. Frank is saying week 3. Let's see. Ooh, against the Falcons? I can agree with you. I'm not going to argue one bit. Hey, but that's another person buy low. Matt Ryan. People they're dropping this guy, all kinds of stuff. It's Matt Ryan, dude. At the end of the day, he's still throwing for his 4,500 yards. I still believe, even with these 2 horrible games, and they're going to continue to lose, so he's going to have to pass the ball. Maybe for KJ. Okay, so Dim Boys is just answering on the last one. Drop Visca for KJ Osborne or Zach Pascal. Yeah, I guess I kind of read that wrong.
That goes back to the previous question the guy has.
Yeah, and I kind of agreed with more so what Dim Boy said. Maybe for KJ. Yeah, but not Pascal. It's kind of just all over the place. But am I a fan of Laviska? No. Would he be on my chopping block? For sure. I already got Cephas last night. Good move, Wilson. Sorry, how do you rank Osborne and Pascal? For a rostering position, I'm going to go Osborne over Pascal by a large part. I think Indy, they don't know what they're doing over there. They got Carson Wentz getting hurt every single game. It's just a mess over there. So I think as far as safety net, I'd rather have Osborne 100% over Pascal.
And that's what I was trying to get at earlier. Is just what are you going to get out of Indy over there? You know, they're in disarray.
Yeah. He's over 10 points in each of the first 2 weeks. Yes, sir. Marvin Jones crushing it. Marvin Jones has been really surprising. And again, you're just probably not going to find Marvin Jones on the waiver wire, which is why I was saying, like, you get a DJ Chark, stuff like that. But yeah, no, he's definitely had his games for sure.
Oh, this is an interesting one. Let's skip ahead one.
I agree, Marvin Jones, man, to have a Jackson. I agree with the Marvin Jones for sure. It's got to have over there. And then DJ Chark.
And then DJ Chark. Oh, the guy with Saquon in my league said he would trade him for Debo and AB.
Guy with Saquon said he would trade him for Debo and AB. Ooh.
I would do it.
I would do it just based on the fact that Debo's so injury prone that it might pay off, and I'd rather have running backs. I'm ranking running backs over receivers for sure. But that's one of those ones where you trade him and he's going to think that he got over on you. And he might. It's a possibility he might, but I would definitely rather have a number 1 running back over there. So it's more so just the Giants. Shout out to Mike, but more so just the Giants that they're just horrible, right? If Daniel Jones is your leading running back, and they just got to figure their own shit out. So it's not necessarily a problem with Saquon because he's not sharing the load with anybody. It's not anything like that. So if you can they're one of the very few teams in the NFL, and I had the Cowboys in there as one of them that it was a single running back team, and the Cowboys aren't even that anymore. So I would do it. Would you, Frank?
I concur. I would trade it.
Hard not to for a Saquon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Falcons has Kamara and Mixon
though. What is it, Frank?
Oh. But he has Kamara and Mixon though. You can never have enough running backs, man. Once Saquon blows up, you could trade him up for somebody else if you want. But what if Kamara or Mixon go down, and now you have Saquon in the wings for yourself, and not skipping a beat for your team. But again, you could always just trade him away once he starts going, lighting up on fire. Then you could really get a WR one for him.
Nah, I think you said it for sure. He's gonna keep being a stud this year. Yeah, hey, Debo is, but again, there's 14 receivers that get over 100 yards and only 3 rushing. So I would definitely do that. How about Sterling Shepard? He is catching everything. Yeah,
oh, yeah.
Hey, he's what they thought Golladay was, right?
I mentioned him. I said, hey, late pickup, Sterling Shepard. He's going to be the number 1 receiver over there again.
I can't remember if he dropped that wide open touchdown or if it was Slayton.
Slayton.
But yeah, it was Slayton, right?
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that. Hey, you cannot drop a.
But Slayton's got some value over there too. I mean, if you're looking at deeper leagues or you're hurting, hey, Slayton's a guy to look at.
I just think in a lot of these leagues, right? And you guys know we're all in a lot of the same leagues and stuff too. When you look at quarterbacks, if you're in a super flex league, like you're probably going to see quarterbacks that are projected at 0 points in the upcoming week because they're not starting. So there's nothing out there. Running backs, there's nothing out there. Receivers is a little more, right? When you're getting a Rondell Moore at 34%, like I'm dropping receivers to pick these guys up. Like I did draft Rondell Moore, but if you could still go pick up a Hollywood Brown, if you could pick up a Henry Ruggs, stuff like that, like that's why it's much more valuable to have these running backs than it is receivers because it's going to change throughout the weeks. Like the Jets can't figure out who's going to be their number 1. The Lions still haven't figured it out. Like their number 1 receiver really hasn't even played yet. When we're talking about Tyrell Williams is supposed to be the man. So we'll see what happens. All right, was that a rant?
That was a rant.
I don't know. Hey, it's just this week, man. Hey, I got tore up this week. Should have got Wilson. I'm telling you, hey, Swift cost me in a few leagues, and I didn't even pin him up there to do a bunch. I just need him to do average, just decent for him.
Right? Give me 10 points, right?
Oh, look at this stat. Saquon has only had 4 100-yard games since his rookie season, so chances are he's not going to be one of those guys in any given week. Jace, I'm not going to jump to you, but Dak. Tim Boys, yeah, but that's like talking about Christian McCaffrey too. So I don't think Christian McCaffrey has even ran for 100 yards this year, but we're talking about total yards and stuff like that too. So you can't just look at rushing yards, but total yards and just being the focal point of the offense. But I agree, Saquon is like we're talking about Antonio Brown.
Injury prone guys.
We're talking about AJ Brown and freaking Debo. Like you can find those guys. Debo's gonna do great. I'd rather get rid of him earlier than later. Just my opinion.
Sorry, Dak or Hurts next week?
Dak, 100%.
Yeah, explain on Monday night, man.
Come on. Hey. And you look at what he did. Look at what Dak did already. All right, he had a shitty.
Well, the last game was
sure.
because they were running the ball, they reestablished the run and whatnot. But yeah, but it's going to be a shootout with Philly on Monday night.
Yeah, his record against Philly is too great, and I think they're going to be slinging the ball. I think the Cowboys are going to run the ball more than they have so far, but I don't think Eagles can hang with Cowboys offense. We're going to be tossing some touchdowns.
Yeah, because I think their defense is a little bit better. They're going to be obviously looking at the tape, more apt to stop some of the run that they're starting to establish and force Dak to throw. And I think that's going to be a good thing. I don't think you're going to go wrong with Dak, tossing it up. So, yeah, I'd say
and it's
Dak
just weird.
Over Hurts.
No.
Obviously, he's drafted, I think, number 4. Hurts was drafted where? Like in 8th round?
Dak sold me this week. Fly, Cowboys, fly. Let's go. Hey, and Eagles cry, Eagles cry. Hey, Dak sold me this week. So we all know that the Chargers have a great secondary. So that's why you're seeing a lot of the plays that the Cowboys are doing. They're running real short plays or running the ball a lot, stuff like that. Which Tampa Bay, I can't say is any weaker come to the defensive side. They're a little more banged up. But that's when Dak did everything that he did last week compared to this week. I don't think Eagles defense is close to either of those teams. So I'd feel comfortable with Dak. He did have an off week, right? So
it happens. I mean, Rodgers started with an off week last week, and look what he did this week. Start your starters.
Start your starters. Yeah, and Jalen Hurts, another one. I thought Frank would trade me. I sent Frank a straight-up trade. I was trying to give him Jalen Hurts, which I shouldn't have Jalen Hurts on my team in the first place, and he denied me for Tannehill.
Well, we'll see if it pans out or not.
We'll talk. I'll send it back to you if you want. We'll talk offline.
All right.
Nah, right on. Hey, Jace, everybody else, Drew.
But Anthony sent everybody to Waddle. I'm just saying. Sorry. On those trade options here.
Ant was in my ear. He's like, hey, send this one to Frank. He'll take it. And then you denied it right away. While you were on a boat on vacation, like it took you 5 minutes to decline that trade. So maybe Ant was just playing some kind of sick joke on me. I just want a serious answer on Alvin Kamara for the rest of the season. I'm hearing mixed things. Frank, I'm going to let you go first because I take on
I
Alvin.
would not stay away from Kamara. Kamara's solid until he's
You would not stay away from him?
Yeah, I would always start him. That's what I'm saying. I would not stay away. Keep Kamara, start him every week until further notice. Basically, unless he's hurt, you don't have to bench him. Unless he's on a bye week, you start him every week. That's simple as that. He's the best guy on that team. The offense will be running through him. And, until Michael Thomas comes back, we'll see what happens. Jameis Winston might actually turn it around at some point. He's going to have a good week, a bad week, good week. But Kamara is going to be the consistent guy over there.
I'm the opposite. I've never liked Kamara. More so just personal issues, right? Like sometimes he burns me when I play against him. But I just don't see him doing anything. I don't think under a Jameis-led offense that he's really had a running back like that. He's not checking it down all that often. He'd rather chuck it up to a cornerback on the other team or a safety on the other team before he hits the flats like that. So I'm personally on a sell high on Alvin Kamara. I know he's had 2 rough games, but if you can get rid of the guy, that's what I would be doing.
What are you going to get for him? What would somebody offer? What would you get for Kamara at this stage?
I mean, look what we're offering for Saquon. So you can imagine what you're going to get for the Kamara. I'll be honest, I'll still try to buy low on Kamara right now. But I know some people are so high they have him on this pedestal for good reasons. Frank, he scored you whatever it was, that 5 touchdowns to win you the championship last year. So there's certain people, it's just you're hitting on people's emotions when you're sending them a trade. Right. So you got to figure out who they're willing to give up, who they're not, that kind of stuff. So like with me, I'm not tripping on giving away Debo and AB for a Saquon, even though I don't think highly of Saquon. I just think all 3 of them, I'm not too high on any of you guys.
And you'd rather have a running back. I said Winston about to go bye-bye.
Hey, and then that would be a different story.
So if you get Payton's too smart not to use Kamara. He's going to start designing plays just to get him involved. For sure, dude. That's why I would just – I would not panic. Don't overreact. Start your starters, I just don't see it going the wrong way. Kamara's the guy over there. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to get the touches. And who are you going to get for him? You know what I mean? Like, are you selling low at this point because he's had 2 bad games as the number 1 pick?
Yeah, and it all depends. And that's why we want you guys to send that to us. Like, it's stuff to say, get rid of this person, all that stuff. Am I going to get rid of Kamara for anybody that's on the waiver wire? Like, hell no. Exactly. But depending on the trade offers that we're going to get, And that's why I'm saying, if you guys aren't on the Sleeper channel, if you guys haven't liked and subscribed, put those on there and let us know who your roster is, and we'll break it down. Like all of us, like them boys will be here. Wilson will be here. They're going to be helping us.
Yeah, all
Anthony,
the links are
Mike,
in the bio.
we got all these guys. So
yeah, all the links are in the bio, so you don't have to look it up or whatever, right?
Yep. And go to getrightff.com if you guys want to see our rankings on these guys. Yeah, Kamara is going to be used, but I don't know. If we're talking about equal or like names, you know, like who would you guys rather have, Joe Mixon or Kamara? And where were they drafted in comparison to each other?
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole, like, what are you getting an offer? That's what I'm saying. Like, who are you going to get for a number 1 pick like that? You know what I mean? Who's going to be willing to trade you some,
what if
their number
somebody's
1 or
tossing you
number
like
2?
a David Montgomery and
Is a Taysom in the back in the Wildcat? I hope so. They need to be doing that, changing it up. Favorite draft from this year: Montgomery and Cup. Yeah, Montgomery's doing all right in PPR. Cup's killing it. Definitely.
Cubs is ridiculous. And I didn't like Cup, right? Because I feel like if I go Cup, then Woods is going to get off. If I go Woods, Cup's going to get off. That Cup has been like just his yards after the catch, like the way he's finessing, like he's hard not to like for sure.
I'm just trying to get the opportunity with Sony Michel over there. You know, I took some pieces of him, hoping that he'd get some touches here coming up. And Henderson's possibly injured, so that stands for the opportunity for Michel. But I wouldn't start him next week because they are playing Tampa Bay, so you'd have to wait till after that. If Henderson stays hurt, then he's got an easy street after that.
I love Sonny Michel. I'm a Georgia fan too. I love watching him. So I mean, that guy's got all the talent in the world. I don't know. I just don't know. I thought it was just bad placement, him being in New England, and I thought he was going to get the juice over here.
Yeah.
Drew, I don't know what you're talking about. You're really fleecing these guys.
That's the Kamara for Travis Etienne, Cam Akers, and J.K. Dobbins. That's the ACL core this year.
Yeah. Hey, if you're in some kind of like a dynasty league or something, like you could try to do that. We'll see who comes back, right? But
yeah.
Hey, super fleece.
Yeah, right.
Maybe before the season, and even before the season. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah,
hey,
dynasty maybe.
Let us know if that one works out for you for sure.
Right. All right, guys. Well, I think we could call it a night. We're about an hour in. Got some waiver wire pickups for you guys today. We kind of recap some of the injuries, but there's not too exciting stuff going on right now. There's a lot of injuries though. A lot of people going down this year. So definitely pick up your backups. These handcuffed guys like Alexander Madison and Pollard. There, some of them guys have already been handcuffed. Were the guys to get. We'll recap with Rondell Moore, Corduro Patterson, and other guys we're looking at. Looking at Derek Carr and Sam Darnold as QBs.
You did it, Frank.
What?
You call him Derek.
Call him Derek? Yeah, no, I can get it every once in a while. But yeah.
Yes, Ravens running back to our committee. Nah, but you're right, Frank. So we'll end it. Unless if you want to touch on that, are they a committee, Frank?
For sure. Nobody's other Tyson Williams had an opportunity. I don't think he's taking the reins to say I'm the guy over here. So to further notice, I'd say it's a committee for sure.
100% agree. And the committee is ran by Lamar. Hey, Frank, 100% appreciate your time, effort, getting onto the show. Anthony, Mike, we look forward to having you guys on the next show. We'll go more over the injuries. No, Jace, thank you. Thank you, Wilson. You guys, like we said, all the links are below. If you haven't been on the website, if you guys aren't on the Sleeper channel, like and subscribe. We appreciate it. We love
us on Underdog
having you guys. If you guys have. Good one, Frank.
Get right promo. Get $10 more. And game responsibly.
Don't do it responsibly. Go hard or go home.
I'm kind of addicted to the thing, honestly. I keep doing these rivals and the pick'ems. I like them.
Nah. I'm so
deep
in it right now.
Thanks for watching. Right, like and subscribe and all that stuff. We'll see you guys Wednesday, right?
Wednesday, we'll be back covering injuries and everything else.
All right, peace out.
Good show, Frank.
I got to hit it.